Hello, my name is Sulun for those who don't know me yet, and I have completed 4 Zero to Hero series on my channel so far, where I've pugged my way up from 0 to 2500 rating, and also to Keystone Legend, aka 3000 rating as well. However, for many years, pretty much since Blizzard introduced Mythic Plus, I had massive anxiety of pugging dungeons. I would always rely on guild groups, and if those weren't around, then I just didn't do any, which often led to having no vault or before the vault the weekly chest. Many of you have reached out to me in the comments or in my Discord that you feel inspired to do Mythic Plus, but you don't feel confident about it and not sure how to begin. Well, in this video I would like to talk about how I got over this overwhelming anxiety that had me in its grasp for years, and how do I approach Mythic Plus nowadays, especially with classes or specs that I haven't played in many years or at all. And I want to recommend some communities that foster a safe environment without any pressure for Mythic Plus or even raids. The video will be in chapters, so feel free to skip back and forth between whichever topic interests you the most. I'm going to start with character preparation. When I decide to play a fresh max level character, I do two things first. One is to visit one of the guide websites, Wowhead or Icy Veins, either is fine. I tend to choose Icy Veins. Here I look at the recommended talent choices first and a brief explanation on why is it recommended. Then I export the talents into the game and call them Icy Veins Mythic Plus or something like that. Then I head to the rotation page and I read it once or twice, and I'll try the rotation out on a target dummy to learn the basics. Once I tried out the rotation a couple times, I head to the Arcane.gg website and find the spec I want to play and take a look at their recommended talent tree and import that as well. You might be wondering why, as I just got one already. Well, you'll find sometimes that the recommended talent trees on Arcane will be different, because they are working with real data from Warcraft logs. But there is a catch, of course, which is that the data is shown for the highest key levels completed as those specs. And the pitfall here is that some specs will perform well in high keys with specific talents because of optimized gear and route, which might not work in a pug low key with mediocre item level. So for this reason I like to have both talent recommendations saved and then experiment which performs better. Afterwards I typically aim to get item level from vault content like vault quests, weekly quests or any catch-up gear enough to do tier 8 delves and upgrade what I can with weathered and carved crests because they are not needed for anything else. These together usually take me to an item level that's enough to start Mythic Plus. While doing this stuff I'm also practicing my rotation as much as I can to get used to it. Usually at this point I can also see if I need some weak auras to track certain things for my spec. For example, on Arcane Mage the Barrage Helper was a huge help. Okay, now your character is prepared to do keys, but your mind is not. This is where I want to talk about anxiety and what helps me to get over it. My fear of pugging was pretty bad. Whenever I opened up the group finder, I would always come up with an excuse in my mind for every single group. Why do I not want to join them? Like, oh, this group leader is a meta spec, those players are often toxic. Or, this guy has too high rating for a +2. Or, this dungeon is regarded as hard this season, and so on. Eventually, through other content creators, I learned that most people generally accept that +2s are there for learning, so there is not much to worry about. That at least helped me to get through the first step. Afterwards, honestly, my anxiety started slowly to evaporate as I saw other people making mistakes. And when I say mistakes, I don't necessarily mean dying, but just messing up a boss mechanic, or not knowing what to do with the affix, or not knowing the way in the dungeon, and so on. Which made me realize we are all humans behind the screens, and there will be mistakes, especially in a pug group. That is something we all have to accept. And if someone else doesn't make a mistake, don't point it out to them in a toxic way. Just say, "Tank, move the boss out of the circle." Or "Guys, we need to interrupt the boss, otherwise we get feared." I know it can be frustrating when other people don't know tactics, but you can just constructively direct them to victory. I know this will sound very antisocial, but the less you say in a key, the better. Do say hello at the start of the dungeon, or feel free to ask when to last. But apart from that, there is no need to chat about anything else, because it can cause unwarranted tension and drama. I usually go into the dungeons blind. And of course, I don't mean literally, but I don't look up guides beforehand. And I know this sounds bad, but I personally learn a lot more by doing and possibly failing first, because failing something is a negative experience, which sticks in my head more than a guy explaining in a 30-minute video the dungeon tactics. That does not mean, however, that I'm not reading tactics, and you shouldn't use this as an excuse either. What I usually do is do each dungeon once blind, and afterwards I do some research on mechanics I wasn't sure of. For example, the darkness fight in Darkflame Cleft was quite confusing to me at first. I wasn't sure what to do there other than move the candle out of the big beam, so I made sure to read up on the darkness fight specifically so I know what to do next time. Something else to keep in mind: you can contribute to the success of a dungeon in multiple ways. If you're a damage dealer and your damage is not very high, you should at least interrupt as often as possible and use your stuns, blinds, whatever CCs and stops you got. Or do the annoying boss mechanics such as the bees in Cinderbrew Meadery. Help out your party by throwing a lay on hands on someone as a paladin or a blessing of sacrifice. These should be pretty basic, but many people often forget about them and only look at the numbers. If you are not confident about the mechanic, then just ask beforehand. Same goes for healers and tanks, by the way. If there is nothing to heal, for example, then do some damage because it will make the fights go faster. Every little contribution counts. Across 4 series, which are hundreds of dungeon runs together, I had 2 instances of toxicity directed at me, which is not many, but I have seen other people being toxic to each other. If someone is toxic to you specifically, the best thing you can do is put them on ignore, which I know isn't that helpful, as you can steal what they say in /say, but just don't tell them you ignored them, so they won't know. You can also report them if they say slurs or sabotage the key in any way. These were the main things that got me through my anxiety, and don't think big immediately. Do only +2s first, till you feel comfortable with your spec and the dungeon mechanics. Then move up at your own pace, and you will eventually reach your goal. There will be depletes for sure, but try to keep a positive attitude. And if you deplete multiple in a row, just leave it for a day or 2 and come back later. That has always helped me come back with a fresh mentality. I'd say this counts for any competitive game though. If there's a rank system and you lose money in a row, you'll feel bad and you'll have a worse attitude in general. Ultimately, there are some amazing Discord communities out there who pride themselves in having fun by doing and learning dungeons together in a safe environment, such as No Pressure EU, WoW Made Easy, which is for US, and Dungeon Dojo Discord communities. I linked their Discords in the description. I'm on the No Pressure Discord myself, and I've done some dungeons there in the past. Some went smoothly, some not so much, but there was no toxicity, pressure or stress. Now that I'm guildless, I'm actually planning to raid through No Pressure EU in Season 3 of The War Within, because it will be an organized pug with voice comps, proper raid leading, just like as if I was in a guild, and I can pick and choose which raids I'm able to attend when. These communities usually have strict rules to keep their community members safe, so make sure to read them if you decide to join any of them. Anyways guys, that is how I approach Mythic Plus pugging. Try to keep a positive mental attitude and remember that we all make mistakes and it's okay. Some will possibly frustrate you, or you might frustrate others with your mistake. It's a two-way street. Don't give up. I hope you'll enjoy Season 3 of The War Within and give Mythic Plus a try if you haven't before. I'll have a content creator challenge coming up with some other YouTubers, and in the first Zero to Hero series, I'll be going as Mistweaver Monk all the way to 3k, voted by the audience. I thank you all very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful, and if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye!